So now I come, the next protocol then is I come and I'm horizontally across the hips. I finish with the diagonals. I'm on the hips. And here again, same distance away from the body, and seems like it's the outside of the hip joint that is the best place to work, not over the top. And energetically, that balance is there. You wait for it. You're not trying to force anything. It's like you're listening to the energy to tell you when to make the move. And also it usually corresponds with balance. And the next one is my dominant hand goes to the knee. My receiving hand stays at the hip where it was before. And now we're diagonally from hip to knee. So that encompasses the movement that will be taking place, in the pelvis area in relationship to work that happens in the legs, and sometimes the tilt in the pelvis one other can affect things both above and below the pelvic area itself. So this one catches that balance. And then the next phase is my dominant hand comes to the opposite knee. My receiving hand goes to the other hip so that we're diagonally across the hips this way. And we wait once again till that energetic flow connects. But as I mentioned, as I'm getting down here further, the balances seem to take less time because of not as many things that are involved in them. And then again, leaving that, come back to a point where I'm horizontally across the knees now, so that we get the balance through the knee joint. And again, holding steady until that perception comes in. And sometimes the level of perception, you might say, in the tingling or the pressure can change a little bit. So you begin to learn to listen to something that happens inside of yourself around, okay, now I know things don't quite seem to be balanced here, but internally I know that something has shifted. So, because as you know, sometimes our perceptions can shift a little, depend on what's happening in our own personal lives, but that internal perception seldom ever lies to us. So now I'm going to the ankle. So my right hand goes to her ankle. My left hand stays at the knee. And we're diagonally knee to ankle. And here again, in the process of working down the system, the other things you can look for is when a person's lying down, if you're looking at them from the top, up by the head, you'll see one foot might be tilted out more than the other. On an angle, it usually means there's some kind of tension in one leg or the other. And so you know that it would be a wise technique to use when you're doing an attunement, that the skeletal system would be wise to receive a balance during that particular attunement time. And now we're going the other way. My dominant hand goes to the opposite ankle. My receiving hand goes to the other knee. And we're working diagonally from knee to ankle this way. And I would say I am working at a somewhat accelerated pace just for demonstration purposes, because once again, this would be a protocol or a technique that would take probably 15 or 20 minutes at least. And then we come across the ankles for the balance right at the bottom of the leg joints here. And here again, there's a lot of, as many of you know, there's a lot of joints all in and around the ankle area that can really see relief from this. And then the final step here is coming up to the tips of the toes. So that it's like you've completed the energetic flow right from the shoulders all the way down to the tips of the toes. And then at this point you would just sweep gently. But the other thing I would mention, if there's a specific problem in a joint somewhere, what I found that I do is I'll do that whole skeletal balance from top to bottom, and then I will go back to work on the particular joint that's having the difficulty. And it's like there's been a resonance that has been set up in the skeletal structure that then helps intensify a positive current in the joint, in the body, that may be causing problems. Because I have worked with a lot of joints and bodies at different times where I did not have this protocol, and it's made a difference. But since using this protocol, it's like there's much greater benefit when I actually go back to working with the joint that's got the problem. So that's the primary process. Now, you've probably noted I didn't go to the elbows, which of course joints are quite long boned in nature as well. But unless there's a specific problem like tennis elbow or golf elbow, the balance is usually picked up when I do the larger diagonal balance from hips to shoulders. But if someone is speaking to me about a problem in their elbow, then I would incorporate the elbows as a part of that protocol. I wouldn't leave them out in the same way. So just so you know that is the process that I would use in balancing the skeletal system. And then, as before, I would just come back to check the balance in the cervical area. I think I mentioned on one of my earlier videos that the balance at the cervical area, it's sort of like the body's circuit breaker, and moving down the body the way I just did, it may have intensified the current, and there may have been just a slight shift in the neck. So I like to make sure that everything is steady. And then I back off, and that's the actual protocol in relationship to this process. So I have a few more things to say, but we'll complete this portion of the video, and then I'll say my concluding comments around the skeletal system. So in conclusion today, this is the third in the 3 protocols that I mostly use in the attunement process. I don't always use them all 3 in each session that I have, but I do find that there's an amazing complement between these systems that I mentioned earlier. To me, the body becomes more and more like this vibrational layer cake that we continue to discover how to work with it. And this process, this energetic process, whether I call it attunement, you call it Reiki, you call it chakra care, it will teach us, as long as we're open, we're not in a field of competition, we're caregivers. So the care for the individuals who come to see us, and those who can be drawn into that, those we can learn from their protocols, we can incorporate for the overall well-being of the person, and above all, if we can work heart to heart with individuals. It's the heart that holds the remembrance of our spiritual reality. And sometimes there'll be an argument between heart and mind, but I think somewhere in the Bible or some writing somewhere, it says, basically says, let not your heart be troubled. It doesn't say anything about your head. And we know in these days that if we can find those things that let us feel at peace in our heart, the spiritual trip doesn't give us a free pass, but it does give us freedom in some pretty tough times. But around the skeletal technique, the thing that others brought to me, I had a group of psychotherapists, women, who had taken my course, and they found that back in their practices, when they used the skeletal technique, that the person they were working with became so relaxed, they were going deeper into their sessions with them than they'd ever gone before. And they just wanted me to know that what it was all about, they didn't know, but it really enhanced what they could offer those who were coming to them in their practices. And what happened as a result of that, I remembered a book I'd read years ago by called Immanuel Velikovsky. He was a Russian physicist. And he spoke about how bone and stone hold the race memory of the people and the planet. So what it triggered in me was we're all the end product of a lot of heredity and environment. But you might say at the bone level, there's probably memory there that we don't really need to remember how maybe tragic things were in major upheavals or whatever it might be. But when there's a balance or a setting at peace, even at the bone level of us, I feel that's what sometimes releases things in the chakra system and in our body overall. And also that deep sense of relaxation, I find the freedom that people have felt in their own development and their own spirituality has also been enhanced. And one of my great mentors back along the way, he said, all that mentors and teachers can do, they can take us to the door of what is ours to do, but they can't walk our journey for us past that point. And for me, what he was stressing was, you don't underestimate the power of your own presence. Don't underestimate the power of doing simple things that will enhance the positive vibration on the planet. There's probably been billions of people that we will never read about who help sustain a vibration of care, joy, happiness, and just plain thankfulness that is done in simple ways. How long does it take to not just wolf down your food, but just give a simple thanks for the gift of food that you have? How long does it take to hold the door open for someone that can't get through? And how long does it take to stop for a moment and just listen to the bird songs? Not seemingly big things, but for me, energy is much like our bank account. What we deposit grows it. The negative stuff or what we take out of it shrinks it. And in energy work, it's the practitioner's life as well as the protocols that enhance the life energy flow that helps others. So I celebrate caregivers from the smallest things that people do to the largest things, and the need for us to appreciate our presence on the planet at this time and to discover what it is that will actually open that door in ourselves that truly makes us aware of our spirituality, not just our own humanness. So thanks for listening, and have a great life.